Hey guys, welcome to my podcast where we talk about entrepreneurship, content creation, and sustainability. Today we have a remarkable guest, Riyad Abou Jaoudeh. Riyad has been in the venture capital field in the Middle East for more than 10 years and is recently the head partner at Hala. Is that so?
I spent 7 years in VC and I'm Chief Corporate Development Officer at Hala, which means I take care of fundraising with investor relations and also look at companies to acquire and do business with.
Wonderful. Riyad, what advice would you give to startups in 2024?
It's a tough environment. Everyone knows it's a tough environment to raise and the fundraising is difficult. But I think in a lot of ways it's better because if you have a good business, there is less competition with crazy startup ideas that don't have a good business model. And my advice is to look for a business where you can start making revenue and make a good gross margin or profits from this business. I think these businesses have become more attractive to investors, even if they grow slower. A few years ago, it was more about growth and forgetting about unit economics and profitability. I think the world has changed, and if you want to launch a business, look at an opportunity where you can solve a problem and get paid for it by customers, and I think investors will come.
So, Riyad, how important is profitability in 2024 for a VC?
Today, it's the name of the game for investors. Like all businesses, profitability is the driver of any sound business on the long run. There used to be an era where money was around because there was almost zero interest rate loans, etc., and people were investing in money-losing business on the hope that at scale or at a certain level they'll be able to, for example, create a monopoly and increase prices, or perhaps charge more for the customer, like what Uber did. However, now there's less money, right? So you cannot find so much money and go spending and burning for years and years and years. I think it's more critical now to be able to demonstrate that your business has solid economics. Maybe not day zero, there's always a starting phase and a growth phase, but at least prove that you can make revenue, make profits out of your revenues.
Okay, so Riyad, how does a VC can get a return on investments they have done for pure equity, and this business was not able to go IPO or to get an exit?
Yeah, so in the case of there is no IPO, usually the VCs try to sell the company at an exit. But your question also assumes there's no exit. If there is no exit, the VCs have some options. One option is to sell only their stake, right?
Okay.
And they can do that to other investors. They can do that to other companies. They can even do that to the company itself. So sometimes VCs sell their stake to the company, to the founder. Maybe they don't expect a crazy return, but they just want their money back or a certain small return or even a discount. At the end, the VCs, they have all funds have a term, so they have to end typically between 8 to 10 years. This pressures them to sell because they have to close and wind down the fund. This creates an opportunity sometimes for other investors, either shareholders in the company or other investors, to buy the stake if they have a longer horizon at a discount, if they believe in the long-term potential of the company. So the VCs often try to sell their stake to different parties, starting from other investors, sometimes to funds. There are funds who do secondary buyouts, and sometimes all the way to the founders themselves who buy it because the founders believe in the opportunity, and the VCs have to exit. So it creates an arbitrage here for the buyer versus the seller.
Wonderful. Riyad, can you tell us a little bit about Hala and what problem is it solving today?
Yeah, so I joined Hala about a year ago. Hala is essentially the future bank of micro and small merchants. It started in Saudi Arabia. What we give very small merchants, think of it as a small grocery store or a cell phone store or a barber, etc. We give them bank accounts, debit cards, and a point of sale device so they can accept digital payments, credit cards, debit cards, etc. This segment in Saudi Arabia was not served, so these guys were essentially not banked. And when the consumers started to prefer paying with debit cards and with Apple Pay, etc., and when the government was pushing everyone to accept digital payments as part of COVID, these merchants were squeezed. They needed to find accepting digital payments. And The banks were not interested in these businesses because they're small, because their revenue is small, it's hard to serve them. We created a one-stop shop solution for them, and this turned out to be very powerful because we give them the bank account and the way to accept money. Now we're entering into the lending business, so we will start to give them loans to help them grow the business. So essentially, although we're not technically a bank, we call ourselves the future bank of micro and small merchants in Saudi Arabia.
Wonderful. And do you think the Hala would be able to give merchants to partners in the UAE?
So Hala is looking at various countries to expand to. Today we have a small presence in the UAE as part of an acquisition.
Okay.
This we offer here online payments, payment links, etc. But we don't offer yet the full suite of services,
Okay.
which is the banking services. Technically, it's called stored value wallet. We don't offer it yet. This business is regulated. It requires a central bank license, etc. In Saudi Arabia, we have the license. Here, not yet. We are looking at various countries to expand to, including the UAE. But so far, there's nothing concrete on the ground.
Wonderful. Riyad, what advice would you give to a young Lebanese entrepreneur who wants to start his journey today?
Yeah, I think it's not as scary as it sounds. It's a difficult road, but there are funding ways. Even in Lebanon, there is a lot of support money from developmental institutions who have funded funds, right? Like for example, the FIs, etc. So I think it's not as scary as it sounds. I think there is money in Lebanon. You will still get funding. And there are a lot of Lebanese entrepreneurs who are ready to help, whether in Lebanon or in the GCC or even Europe and the US. Try to find the right mentors. A lot of people want to help young entrepreneurs, especially in Lebanon. So don't be afraid. Ask for support, get mentors, and be a realist. I think the world is tough enough, and Lebanon conditions are really difficult. It creates resilience, but also be a realist. Yani know when this will not work. Don't try to replicate what has happened in the US in Lebanon. Yani we have a special market. We have good talent. Try to export and find opportunities either in the GCC or in Africa or in the rest of the world. If you're able to sell software as a service, for example, try to find a niche. Try to solve a deep problem. I think the most critical thing is to find what's called product market fit, which means you find the problem, you have the solution for the problem, but more importantly, you know that this solution works. This is the product market fit. How do you know this? It's by validation from the market, meaning people are willing to pay you, people are willing to buy your service. If people are not willing to pay you or they're not willing to use your service, don't kid yourself, don't lie to yourself. It means you don't have the right solution to the problem, or the problem is not deep enough, right? If people are not willing to pay you for your service, maybe the problem is not painful enough, right? Change the problem, iterate quickly. The key really is to find the product market fit, and to do that, start with something niche and try to solve it, and iterate until you see customers are calling you and they want to pay you. This is the perfect validation. Even if you're not going after the biggest problem, you start there, you grow, but more importantly, you iterate until you reach the right product market fit.
Wonderful. Riyad, what's next for Hala?
We just raised a very large round that hopefully we will announce this year. What's next for us is serving the businesses better, right? What we want to do is give them more tools and grow their capabilities. And this starts with SME lending. I think this will help them with working capital needs, help them grow the business. We also launched expense management. This will help companies of a larger nature, maybe small and medium, to issue cards for their employees, control expenses like travel expenses, online subscriptions, etc. These are key areas that we are working on this year. We have a lot going on, but this is what I think talk about very briefly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Riyad Abou Jaoudeh. Riyad, you have worked for 7 years in the Middle East's largest venture capital firm.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a fun journey working with entrepreneurs. Now I move to the other side, and I hope to keep helping entrepreneurs and see how I can make a change in the ecosystem here. Yeah.
Finally, I just want to say a question that I ask to all entrepreneurs and people who start their own thing. What kind of person are you that makes you successful in all these businesses?
I don't know if I'm successful, to be honest. What I like to do is, stay curious and learn, and always, learn from the entrepreneurs. When I was in VC, my favorite thing was sitting with entrepreneurs, learning, what they are building, how the problems they are solving. It was fascinating to me. I think this keeps me driven to learn and to be amazed by entrepreneurs. Similarly, when I joined Hala, I'm learning from the founders from the company. Hala is 400 plus employees.
You switched roles.
Yeah, I switched roles, but I continue to learn. Now I entered, for example, debt fundraising, which is something I did not know, and I keep learning. I think this drive to keep learning, I think they call it lifelong learning or something like that. For me, it drives me, and it keeps the work very interesting for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Riyad.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure having you. Stay tuned for more, and follow Hala on LinkedIn. What's the handle, if you want to share? Or
On
Instagram?
LinkedIn,
Yeah,
I think it's called
Instagram.
Hala Payments.
Hala Payments.
Yeah, but you can follow me as well. On LinkedIn,
Riyad,
it's just Riyad, Riyad.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
Instagram, if you care.
Instagram, it's Riyad AJ, Riadaj.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yalla.
Bye.